What are some unwritten rules of sex? Don't let somebody go down on you if the thought, "I should have showered," comes to mind. This is true for both men and women. As a bi woman, I can assure you that stinky nutsacks are just as unpleasant as a stinky cooter. Clean sex is great for everyone. Invest in some baby wipes, y'all. A little tip: if you would like your sexual partner to tidy up before anything intimate, you can say something to the tune of, "I'm going to freshen up. Do you mind if I go first?" Edit. I'm surprised to read that some consider the approach, "Do you mind if I go first," to be subtle. I'm struggling to think of a scenario where you walk out of the shower, tell your partner, "Okay, I'm done." The shower is ready for you, and they respond with, "Nah thanks, I'm good." I came home from work and had a text from my so saying he wanted to go down on me, only when I came home he was in the bath and I was all sweaty from work, so I just washed it in the kitchen sink instead with fairy liquid. You should wash your junk beforehand. I thought this was common sense, but I've heard horror stories. I had an ex who rarely showered and expected BJS regularly. Needless to say, he never got them and wondered why, even after I confronted him about his stanky rod. When spooning and you give a little subtle thrust, if she pushes back a little, it's game on. Can confirm. If I press my booty into your junk while spooning, I'd also like that junk pressed into other places. Which is all fun and games until I'm not in the mood and my girlfriend's ass is now taking up my whole side of the bed. If a queef happens and she doesn't acknowledge it, it never happened. Really, any farting noise at all. If she laughs it off, you can laugh along, but probably don't laugh if she doesn't first. First time I had sex with GF, I violently came and farted. Learned it was the best feeling life has to offer. Technically these are all written rules now. This guy, he's onto something. Always end with a high five. Edit. Thank you kind stranger for my first Reddit award. Down low. Don't look them straight in the eyes and say, "Wuss poppin' Jimbo." So that's what I've been doing wrong. Don't try what you watched in porn without talking about it first. So that's a hard pass on the midget gangbang. Always pee after. If you're a man, give it a few minutes, though. Be kind to each other. Never make fun of each other's bodies. Help the other person feel like the most beautiful, wanted person. Always be on the same page with what's okay and what's not. There's going to be a bunch of awkward noises, some weird smells, and you're probably going to get body parts tangled in a goofy way. Go with it. It's supposed to be fun and nothing to be ashamed about. There's a difference between fucking and making love. Be clear with what the expectations are. If the big three words, "I love you," creep out accidentally and neither of you are ready for it, it's fine. You say weird stuff in moments of passion. Sex and love aren't always linked. And that's okay. Be prepared for clean up and aftercare. That's my list of unwritten rules of healthy sex. Edit. This is really important. If either person ever says stop or the safe word, you hard stop everything. Give no pressure to continue. No begging. You stop and respect them and the full consent. I like you added aftercare. Aftercare should be in all relationships, not just kink. Don't forget to bring a towel. Shut up, towelly. Didn't know the Hitchhiker's Guide had a chapter on sex, but of course it would. Apparently you don't remove anal beads like you are starting a lawnmower. I just let it rip like a Beyblade. Blood and shit starts going everywhere every time for some reason. So that's what I've been doing wrong this whole time. Lasting forever isn't the mark of a good male lover. While endurance is good, women get bored and vaginas get raw if you're in there too long thrusting away. I wish my partner would grasp this. Yes dear, you are a stallion. Your stamina is legendary. But it has been 2 hours and I lost interest in this whole thing about 90 minutes ago when you came for the first time. What if you just can't come for whatever reason? Asking for a friend. I mean, it's probably written somewhere, but don't use baby oil as lube. Or any petroleum product, for that matter. It can really fuck up a woman's plumbing, and it can cause condoms to essentially disintegrate. Oils, fats should never be used as lube when using latex condoms. On top of this, if you're male and about to use lube on a female, ask her if she's okay with the product you're using first. I can't tell you how many dudes have splashed baby oil on my junk without me realizing, and then the fucking pricks always say, "Ah, sure, it'll be grand," when I tell them it'll cause me a yeast infection. Of course it'll be grand for you, you're not going to spend a whole week with a burning crotch because Eager McGee doesn't know how basic consent or respect for others' bodies works. You can't just fist an ass because you saw it in the movies. Wuss poppin', Jimbo. Not with that attitude. It's a two-person sport. Unless a kink is being acted out, both parties should be active and engaged in the experience. Edit, more than two people can be involved, but the rule still applies. Don't moan your own name. What if you're Loki, a Pokemon? Vagina is way lower than you think. Where did you think it was? Yep, keep going down till she exclaims, "Wrong hole." Then go up an inch or so. Side note, if she doesn't exclaim, "Wrong hole," marry her. Let her know when you're gonna come when she's going down on you. Her decision, fellas. Guy becomes a complete asshole in my eyes if he doesn't tell me and just goes with no warning. Fingers' nails need to be trimmed and filed down beforehand. Also, guys, before you go sticking in fingers in her, wash your dirty hands. Don't use teeth on the clit. Apparently some people need this to be verbalized. I chew on it. Stimulate your man through his orgasm. Whoa, how does that work? Do not put anything in the butt without asking first. If it is okay, then use lots of lube. How much lube? Lots. Do not assume the person would like to be strangled or have their head pressed down in mattress not able to breathe just because it's your kink. Whoever is hosting should have cleanup materials readily available. Here's some sandpaper, now wipe yourself off. Don't say, "You like that, retard." Isn't it, "You like that, you fucking retard"? Don't ask if she came yet. Counterpoint, it's okay to ask but don't include, yet orgasms can be difficult to notice in a new partner at times, especially if they spent their teens trying to be quiet. It's relatively easy to tell with comes, but for some women it can be very subtle, especially until they are more comfortable with you. Don't put on Forrest Gump as background noise to cover up any noise you make when your roommates are out in the living room. Come, Forrest. Come. I feel there is more to this story. Don't fart when someone's going down on you. That's a great tip for not blowing your wad too early. Hold a fart in. You'll last for hours. Hands are washed, socks are off, fingernails are trimmed, poop knife is sheathed. What's wrong with socks? Is no one going to acknowledge poop knife? Honestly, cuddling after sex. I think it should just be assumed unless the other person says they don't want to. Or is this to cheesy grinning face with sweat? I have this thing where I get super horny when I'm high, but after we come I completely forget I was having sex. Husband was not impressed when he came out wondering I wasn't coming back to cuddle. I got up to pee, it's important, and I was wandering around with a piece of pie. Stick them with the pointy end. Foreplay. Don't take the condom off when she says she wants to use them. This is spoken, taking a condom off without a partner's knowledge is, in fact, a form of rape. If you're having sex and the thought comes to you, "This would be funny," don't do it, just don't. What if your partner is thinking the same exact thing? It could be in that moment that they realize they are soulmates and grow old together. Don't presume that when you feel you are done, she is done too. Be a gentleman and finish the pleasing to her satisfaction. I cannot express how important this is. It really sucks when the dude comes, knows I didn't, and doesn't attempt to at least finish me off with fingering or something after the fact. If you have kids, lock your bedroom door, they will walk in to the door, at speed, because it's locked. Sex is not over until everybody involved comes, and only the unsatisfied party may choose to waive this right. Shouldn't sex be over when one person wants it to be over? Always ask permission for butt stuff. Any stuff, really. Endurance and stamina are prized with sex, but many women don't want to have intercourse for an hour straight. Threesomes that involve two people in a relationship and a third party require a lot of planning and talking about beforehand. Being the third person and having to endure a domestic argument in the middle of fooling around really kills the mood. Take turns lying in the wet spot. Or put a towel underneath. Foreplay is a really important part for both men and women. Don't do it with people under 18. That is in fact a spoken rule. She won't say no, because of the implication. If you see poo, don't say EWW poo. YAYYY poo. No pets allowed. Both people must be awake. But only one must be woke. Cuddling is dependent on how rough the sex was. The more rougher and hardcore the sex was, the more you should cuddle her afterwards. Don't have a conversation with yourself during sex. But what if your partner is deaf? Gotta talk to someone. If you party where poop lives, he's gonna show up. Use some protection. I always wear a helmet.